Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack here. Friday now, the 4th of October, 2024. Wish I had better news for you. Looks like Florida is going to be in for more impacts from tropical mischief over the coming days. And the models are starting to uptrend on this. National Hurricane Center now upping the chances for development in the Gulf of Mexico, and some of the model guidance becoming quite a bit more bullish on this. So we need to talk about it and begin taking this very seriously. A rather complex setup and something kind of different in terms of how this could end up, something that Floridians perhaps aren't used to. I'll explain as we go forward. As always, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Let's get started, shall we? First, National Hurricane Center, they have now added the yellow X out here on their tropical weather outlook, up to 50% chance of development over the next 7 days. It's a trough of low pressure, so a focusing mechanism to get the air to rise, that kind of thing, down in the Gulf of Mexico. And then a broad area of low pressure that kind of closes off is expected to develop from the system over the next few days. And then additional development is possible while the low moves slowly eastward or northeastward. And then it could either be purely tropical or subtropical. These are the labels that start confusing people. You get to where, oh, you already lost me. Just, it could be a big weather system, bigger than you. That's what I mean by that. Headed towards Florida where people live. That's the bottom line. The scientific classification of it, whether it's tropical or subtropical, and whether or not it's attached to a front, that's all, again, the technical side of things. The bottom line, if we expand this out, you can see something is headed toward Florida, and that's what we need to be aware of, and I will explain the mechanics of it as we go forward. We have Kirk out here, a solid Category 4 hurricane, really racking up those ace points. Leslie on its way to becoming a hurricane. It'll probably be pretty intense as well. And then yet another system could be coming off here, or it will come off and it could develop. And it just goes on and on and on. October acting very much like September. Pretty weird. Well, let's put all that aside and talk realities here. Make sure I got everything set up right. First, there's Kirk, just a big hurricane out over the Atlantic. There's Leslie out there. There's the other system trying to come off in a few days. All of this traffic should stay out here. That's what the guidance looks like. I don't see any problems with anything getting all the way across. We don't have to worry about that. This is our area of concern, though. Partly the DNA or the leftovers from what was once TD11 over here yesterday, that's come across, so some of that energy or vorticity is in the Gulf of Mexico. This is our surface trough. We've got a front that's going to come through. A very complex setup. And the bottom line, though, you're in Florida. You want to know, okay, what does this mean for me? And I'm going to try to boil that down for you as we go forward here. So, close-up of the Gulf. Definitely some showers and thunderstorms blossoming up, but nothing staying sustained just yet. And we don't see any solid evidence of any rotation. There's just a little bit of a swirl that went into parts of Texas right there, but that's gone. And then you've got your overall trough of low pressure through here. And the air is coming in. You can see the air comes into this, and you get your focusing mechanism in here. This is kind of like your grapevine. But then we need to see, do we get any grapes off of it? Nice, big, plump, ripe grapes. That's the analogy here. This is your seedling. Now let's see what grows from it. And that's what the models are going to try to resolve, albeit it's going to be rather complicated. They're going to try to resolve that, the computer guidance, over the coming days. The signature that I like to look for, you know this, you've heard it, the vorticity, stretched out right now. The energy, that's spread out over a large distance. There's Kirk. It is not. Kirk is concentrated. Leslie is all concentrated. That's what we look for. That's not what's happening here just yet. So until and unless we start to see something consolidating and become less linear and more focused, we're not going to have too much to be concerned with. You would have a large weather system spreading a lot of rain over the peninsula, some onshore flow over here, some coastal flooding issues, a little bit of insult to injury out there, adding to the misery that people are still going through, picking up the pieces in the wake of Helene. Or this does get more concentrated, and we do have something bigger on our hands in terms of wind, storm surge, things like that. Yes, the models have been uptrending towards that solution, a more focused system, but we're not completely sure just yet. So let's look at some of the things that would support such a scenario. And unfortunately, the Gulf is still very, very warm. The northern Gulf is starting to cool off, as you'd expect, but it's still in the low 80s up here. Don't let these purples fool you. The lowest end of the scale is still 27 degrees. This hasn't updated actually since September 30th, so that is problematic. I don't know why. Maybe there's a problem with the back-end server, so we will delete that because I don't want to show you bad data. This at least is updated today, October 3rd, and the anomalies, and this is important, those are still very strong right now, highly positive on this side of the scale. I'm glad I noticed that other out-of-date graphic there, 4 days or so out of date. Probably didn't make that much of a difference. The anomalies, though, you can clearly see Gulf of Mexico running, in some cases, 1 to 2 degrees Celsius warmer than average. You don't see any blues in here. Bottom line, there's plenty of energy for something to tap into if the atmosphere cooperates. So we know we've got the latent heat out here, the heat energy in the ocean, the Gulf. Now we need to see if the upper levels will support. Just looking ahead to, this probably should have been at the end of the update, but October is going to continue to be very busy all the way over to Eastern Africa. These impulses are still sitting out here. Just incredible to see such a dichotomy, a split between what we're used to seeing with a peak in September with African easterly waves, and now they're coming off in October. A very weird season to be sure. So let's kill that graphic and bring in the GFS. So let me explain, especially because we probably have some newcomers here. The vorticity signature that I like to watch for down at about the 5,000 foot level, that was from this analysis right here that I showed you, and it's right there. You can see that. This is what the model shows, and this is the initialization, and the GFS here, the Global Forecast System, did pick it up pretty nice. You can see it matches what the analysis was, so your data input is pretty solid there. So that being the case, let's see what the GFS does with that data, because again, this is how the assimilation of data works. It's hard to explain, but you want to see that the two match, because this is literally an analysis product. This is what it looks like from a satellite perspective, picking out the vorticity, and then this is what the model depicts as its interpretation of that. And if they match, that's good, because you have faith in the guidance. So let's move this out over time, and let's see what happens. First, you can just see within 36 hours, the GFS rather quickly bends these wind flags in here, these little areas of, you can see the wind flow, and makes it counterclockwise. So there's your broad area of low pressure. That gets going in the southwest Gulf of Mexico. Clearly, you can see that. By 48 hours, it starts to concentrate more, and then by 60 hours, you have a better organized system there, the vorticity focusing here in the southwest Gulf, and it's ready to go. Now here's the key. Let's start to look at a couple of different factors. First, let's look at the upper level dynamics. So we're going to go from 5,000 feet to much higher in the atmosphere where the jets fly, right? So here we see a very favorable environment with the system, but just north, not so much. These blues in here, teal colors, whatever that is, 20, 25, 30 knots of wind blowing across the Gulf. Now, if this is moving in this direction, let's just say at 10 knots, and these winds are blowing at 20 to 30 knots, then the relative shear is not as bad. So you look at this and you go, well, there's a lot of shear up there, we'll see. Well, it's not so much shear if the vectors are all the same. When you get everything moving parallel together, the shear doesn't become shear anymore. It actually can enhance the outflow. And we need to watch that very closely. So let's go back down to the 5,000 foot level. That's 60 hours. There's day 3, 72 hours. And there is another area that tries to form up here, a little piece of energy that could compete. Now this is 3 days out. Hard to know if this is spurious. But this right here is really curious to me, because I want to see, and hopefully I can drag this out long enough to get the Euro over here to day 3, and we can see if the GFS and the Euro are on the same page, the ECMWF model. But again, at day 3, this is Monday morning, we're starting to see this system come together. We can change the parameters here and look at the mean sea level pressure and the low level wind, and the air pressure is down below 1,000 millibars. Doesn't look particularly windy in there, broad kind of hybridish system, but it is over very, very warm water. So it wouldn't take much for that to really become fully tropical. You know, the front could be draped through here, all that technical stuff. But that doesn't matter to you folks in Florida. What matters is the end result. And by 84 hours, this thing starts to take off and consolidate over those very warm waters of the Gulf. And at day 4, again, let's just check everything. Does this even make sense? And it does. It's moving with the flow, and the upper level winds are pulling all that air out. So the outflow would be pretty substantial there, a little bit of a jet streak up there. And it's a fine line, though. If this were any more north, I mean, that'd be pretty substantial. The highest winds are up here in these greens in the upper levels to really rip it apart. But this could be somewhat favorably placed for it to strengthen. Perhaps all the way to, if close to, if not all the way to landfall. So that's day 4. That is Tuesday morning. And by day 5, this is only 5 days out, our system does come in Wednesday, it appears, somewhere in the vicinity of Tampa, Sarasota, something like that. And then it goes across, kind of dives to the south and east a little bit. Huge rainmaker. No matter what, all this energy kind of stretched out from it, and just the broadness of it. Big, big, big rain, unfortunately. I think that's a given. And then we just have to see, does this really manifest itself as a true tropical system or not? But that does not matter. And let's go back over to the lower levels of the atmosphere and show you that 10-meter wind once again. And let's zoom in to the southeast U.S. so we get a better idea of geography here. Pressure down to 984 millibars. And remember, your wind here, this is really important. If you divide this up into quadrants and it's moving that way, this is the area we'd need to worry about south of the center. That's what's different about this. Helene came up this way and made landfall, and it was everything to the east of the center that got that big surge, as you guys well know. This coming in, and let's just back this up a few frames, get it where I can see the controls. This system will be coming in at an angle there that, just assume this is the landfall just for a second, humor me here. That's your right front quadrant right down here. So your worst surge will be to the south. Up here, you'd have an offshore flow along the Nature Coast, Cedar Key, and elsewhere. The Big Bend would have offshore. Farther south, onshore, and you'd pile up the water. Very efficient in areas, Manatee, Collier, Lee County, Monroe, Florida Keys. Yeah, this could be a problem. And you can see the wind field does spread inland across Florida there. So more power outages, more mayhem, just like yuck. I know people are thinking, you got to be kidding me, and probably substituting kidding me for a few choice 4-letter words. The really good news, though, and this is just very, very important to point out, zero evidence in any of the models that this comes up into the southeast beyond Florida. Bad enough for Florida. This is not good news, certainly, but at least for the areas that were hammered by the extreme flooding, this doesn't appear to have any chance at all to make its way up into western North Carolina, interior Georgia, where all the power outages still are. This is going to be a Florida problem, and a potentially significant Florida problem at that. So let's see if I have talked enough. I did. I wanted to get to that 72-hour mark. All right, let's back this up, because this is important. Let me come on just for a second. This is how I do what I do. Even without a YouTube audience, a social media audience, this is exactly what I would look at. I do this for your benefit, obviously. I want to educate people, but I don't do this for the sake of trying to get engagement or anything like that. This is exactly the process that myself, my colleagues, I don't know how they do it at the National Hurricane Center. I've never asked, because I don't want to sort of taint the way I do things by figuring out their processes. Forecaster Dan Brown, Eric Blake, whoever. But my colleagues that are not at the Hurricane Center other meteorologists. We talk about it, and everybody has their own way. And to me, it's very important to see, obviously, consistency and what do the other major global models show. And the two big powerhouse, typically, are the GFS, which I'm showing you right here, and the Euro, short for ECMWF, European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, right? So there is the GFS. Let's get it back to 72 hours, because to me, this is a pivotal point. All right, so there's the GFS. Let's see if the Euro matches. There's 48 hours. There's 72. No, that's 48. Sorry. Let's go back, Mark. That's the starting point. 24, 48, 72. A very, very close match. Okay? So to me, this is, I wish I had some in the office. Big red flags. I need to get people in Florida paying attention. Again, not for my ego. And it's my business, but you folks need to be watching this closely. You've got the weekend coming up. People are going to be like, huh, what? I didn't know this was out there. We're going to only have a few days. This could make landfall. Hey, it's out to 96 hours. Good. Let's see. Yeah, so that's not good. The Euro is consolidating it, and the GFS doing the same. That's hurricane intensity, generally 987. So we could have a really big problem on our hands here for the Sunshine State beyond a big rain event. So be ready. Share this video with people in Florida. Let them know, look, this is something we got to really watch, and we will certainly stay on top of it here at our community. All right, let me back over to the title page and get ready for my hopefully graceful exit. So we got to watch this closely. You only have a few days to get ready. Probably going to impact areas south of the worst part of Helene's impacts, but that raises the specter of big-time problems, especially storm surge. We'll talk about that more as this evolves. But again, the GFS and the Euro really aligning there. That's giving me some serious concerns here for our friends along the west coast and southwest coast of Florida. Sometime tomorrow, don't know exactly when. I will do a YouTube live again, so I'll post it on the community tab of YouTube, learning all these different tools I've got, about an hour ahead of time. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you put the notifications on. This is a good time to do that for your benefit. All right, trying to help you here, and we'll stay on top of this. And then tomorrow afternoon, if you can't tune into the YouTube live, I will certainly do this type of video as well. All right. Thank you for watching. Wish I had better news for you. It is still hurricane season. We were expecting it to be very busy. It's just kind of changing and behaving differently than we thought. But nevertheless, here it is, and we need to keep watching. All right, and we'll do that for you. From all of us at HurricaneTrack, I am Mark Sudduth. I will talk to you some more tomorrow.